This is a WeVideo advanced tutorial. So we're going to look at the home page right here. So when you log into WeVideo and you are in WeVideo Classic, this is what you are going to see. Remember that you're able to toggle back and forth between the classroom and Classic by coming up to the top into this drop down arrow. Then over on the left-hand side, templates is a great place to grab an idea if you are interested in having it be built already, a lot of elements within a project being pre-built, but I want to talk about projects right here. So projects are folders that have individual edits inside of them. So this is a great way to keep yourself organized. I know that my projects for movie making, I'm keeping all of them inside here, and there's 61 of those projects. The other thing is that your project right here determines whether or not it is something that can be shared with another person. So a personal project, there is no way to take the material that you make inside of a personal folder and then share it with another person. You have to start from a folder that is collaborative based. So when you click create a new project, this is where you are asked the question, are you doing this personally or are you doing it collaboratively? And once you choose this, that's the type of project it is. So if students sometimes want to share something with another student, that they're doing it in Classic and they want to share it, unfortunately, if they have created their edit inside of a personal folder, they're not going to be able to share it. So that's just something to note from the beginning. The first feature I want to talk about is adding layers or tracks. So coming down to the, still on the left-hand side, but toward the bottom, you'll see plus track. This is where you have the ability to add a track, and then it's going to ask if you want to do video and text or if you want it to be an audio layer. Most of the time we're going to be working with video layers, and then what you're able to do here is name these to be whatever you want them to be. So sometimes that can help in a big project where you have people working together. You may want to keep things all in one place. Like this is the area that has all of your titles is going to be in this track, and this is where you have your lower thirds. They're all going to be in one place. So remember that within a track, you can determine that you want that track muted. So that can be helpful to keep only things in that track that you want potentially to be muted. And sometimes I will pull a single thing that I want muted and I will pull it up onto a track by itself for that purpose alone. So that's really helpful with your tracks. And then remember with the three dots on the side that you're able then to move things up and down. You can change the height. You can make things all small. So if you want to be able to see only a couple of them at a time, the big and the other ones all small, that is a possibility as well. And it can be a really helpful tool as you're going along. Also, remember that when you have media down here on the timeline, that it kind of defaults to a certain size of view. It looks at the length of your project, and it's like if your project's only a minute long, it's going to make all of your clips be a certain size to fit it onto the view from here to here. But you can expand out and you can make things smaller as well. That's a useful tool to just know that your view is something that you get to control the view. So for every clip, when it is highlighted in purple, you are in the edit mode, and all you have to do is go up to the top and say edit. And then on the side, you have a bunch of different options. There is a basics course that covers a lot of things here, but what we specifically want to look at here is the animation option and the speed option. So animation is a really fun option that you get to use, especially with text. So we are going to edit this text box here. We're going to click on the edit button, and this is where you have the option to animate some text. I like starting from a completely fresh, original text box. I don't like using the templates very much because I feel like we see the same ones over and over again. So let's just kind of go over some of the text options that you have available. You have bolding, italics, underline. You can change the alignment. You can change the spacing. You have the text color, highlighting color, and then you also can change the text box color. I think that this is a great way to create what's called a lower third, which is where you're putting text in the lower third of the box. So sometimes I will go in and I'll say I want just a really light gray, and I'm going to change the opacity on it so that it gives me a little bit of control over, I mean, it's easier to read, but I don't have to, it's not like a solid color. And sometimes that's a really helpful thing to do if you are trying to have people read something on a screen. And then making a choice of text that, remember, it's always about communicating to your audience what the information is. So if they can't read it, if it's too cutesy, sometimes that's a mistake. And then just making sure that you've got the placement where you want it. So one of the features is that you can auto adjust the font and size based on the text or the text box. So then by shrinking the text box, it's going to change the size of the text. I think that it's nice if you're doing a lower third to remember to keep the alignment, to have it left aligned. That just seems a little bit more professional to me. It's kind of a good idea. This feature right here allows you to create an outline around the text right here. So I'm going to choose blue, and that's when you'll be able to see it. It's going to change the stroke width so that we have an outline around, and then you can drag this to be larger if you want to increase the size of the border and outline around the box. The next option right here is the shadow, giving a shadow to the text. And so you have a lot of different options right here that really make it, you get an opportunity to create some original lower thirds, original text and titles, but they still look really good. The animation option is going to let me choose a starting position and size for this this text box here. So if I want to make my text box really small in the beginning, you know, set like a place that I want it to start from, that it starts up here in this corner, and then it moves down and then becomes large at the bottom. What happens is you set the start point, you go then to the end point, and now it's the full size. And then when we say done, it's going to play this animation over the length that you choose for the text up here. So when we play, it just moves that in, which kind of is just allowing you to use and create your own titles. I think kids actually have a lot of fun once they know that they can create their own original work. It's a fun thing to do. Let's look at the options for editing a video clip. So first of all, you get to change the scale, and it's going to default to cropping your video or to filling this size right here. So if your video is filmed in some other format, it might zoom in on the video, and remember, you can always tell it to fit to the screen or to fill the screen, either one, and then you can manually control the scale up here as well. You can then crop things if you would like the video to be, if it's set over something else, you're able to crop it, get rid of, maybe there's a chair in the background. I do this with green screen a lot. If the green screen wasn't as big as what you were filming, then just crop it down so that you're only looking at the part that has green behind it, and then you are able to color key out the background. You have a couple of audio options. You can always tell it to fade, and then it will ask, are you wanting to fade at the beginning and the end? That's kind of a nice feature that can be set on top of any clip that you want, and you can control the volume right here, clip by clip. Animation works the same way. For a video, you're able to start a start position and an end position. Color keying is explained in a different video, but you're using the eyedropper and then choosing the color you want to color key out. This color options allow you to control the brightness. If there's, you noticing that it's was kind of filmed in the dark, you might want to control that brightness there. And anytime you adjust anything, you're always able to press the reset button. It'll reset everything back if you don't like what you have experimented with. And then the speed option. This is a really fun option to say that I want to change the speed of a video. So especially if it's a video that we want to see kids walking fast in a video or something, we can speed the whole process up, essentially making it like a time-lapse video by just dragging the faster button, and then it's going to go through the length. It always tells you the new clip length, and you can say that you want it to ease in and out. Right here, what this is telling you is, do you want this over the entire clip, or do you want it over just a portion of the clip? So maybe there's just one little section of the video that we want to do this to, and then for that portion of the video, it's going to go faster. If you happen to need to blur out a person's face or to blur out writing, pull a text box down on top of the clip that you need, the part that you need to blur. So we're gonna work on this text box here. So I'm gonna get rid of the words completely, and then I'm just going to adjust the size of the text box to the area that I need to blur. And what I'm going to do is then choose a background text box color, and I'm going to make it very light. I'm going to change the opacity so that it's almost see-through, and then once I've done that, I'm going to press done, and I'm now going to add an effect to this. So I'm going to go up here to the filters and click on effects, and I'm going to say blur, and I'm just blurring this little box. So I've got that there. I'm going to press apply. You can always adjust the opacity of the background text box color, but this then can act as a blur option over something. One of the best kept secrets with any video project is that you want to know which program to use for which feature. So right now, WeVideo doesn't offer the option to reverse a video, but that is an option inside of Adobe Creative Cloud. So one thing that I do very frequently, if I need to maybe reverse the video, the whole thing, make it completely reversed, I will finish the video in WeVideo that I've created, and then I will import it into Adobe Creative Cloud, and I will then reverse the video there and then import it back again into WeVideo. So this is Adobe Express Creative Cloud, and you this is where you then will, we're going to work with video options right here. And so some of the options that they have on the bottom, so a lot of the stuff is done, you can do inside of WeVideo. you can make a GIF in WeVideo. You can crop, you can resize, you can trim things, and it naturally will export everything as an MP4. But you do have a speed control here. We have one inside of WeVideo, but there isn't currently a reverse option. So once you've exported the video, you then grab it from your desktop, and it will then take your video, assess it, it will reverse it, and then you just download it. And then it's as simple as putting it back into WeVideo and doing any other editing with it that you wanted to do. Let's take a look at the video features inside of Canva. So there are some things that Canva can do that WeVideo doesn't necessarily do quite as well. So start a video project inside of Canva, and it will, over here on the side, these are all these different video templates that you can click on, choose whichever one you want, add them to a page. They're honestly these really professional looking things that are very easy then to just edit small pieces on. We are usually using videos to teach kids. When you click on upload, you can either use a video that you've created somewhere else, or you can use the native feature in here to record yourself. This is one of the newer features. You're able to press record yourself, and this is pretty cool. So this is where you get to make some decisions. So I can either decide that I'm using the camera, I want to just record the screen, or I want to do both. I want to do both the camera and the screen. And this is pretty cool that it puts you right here in this little box down on the side. And there you go. You have to learn where to look. And you get to decide here, are you using a special microphone that you have set up, or are you using, and like what camera are you using? Because some of us are going to have multiple cameras. It's really cool though. A couple of options over here on the side. You have the ability to flip the camera, mirror it. If you don't like yourself in the, we always see ourselves from the mirrored position, so you can always do that. There's also the option to put in some effects and filters, which can kind of make lessons sort of fun. So over on the side, we can add in like vivid, can say, I'm just going to change the way that it looks. You can always control the intensity, look through some of these more intense ones, you know, they kind of, yeah, depending on how serious you want the video to look, you know, but you can give yourself a little bit of a filter in order to just to kind of make it fun. So, and then you click the record button so that you're able to, that you set it all up first, and then you can record. It's a really fun option. And then you do your, once you've recorded, you would do save and exit. And you can exit the studio, and then anything that you record will be over here on the side. But this would be a fun way to get two things happening at once. Students get to see you, and they get to see your screen so that you can teach whatever content it is. And then it's as easy as just pulling up your PowerPoint, pulling up your Google slide, and then explaining something to the kids. And they get to see your face, but they also get to see the material, and it's all in a beautiful little template. It's really easy right there. Flip is another great recording site. So the intention is usually to start a video discussion with a group of people. But what you'll notice in when kids go in to record is that you have an option to record either yourself using the camera and the microphone, but you also have the option with these three dots up here to go up and record your screen. So that is another screen recording tool that can be very useful. And again, you have some of the fun features that kids like to use. filters and being able to throw other stuff on there. And again, they can do the mirror, they can flip their video, and it's a pretty fun tool. So, and you can use it just for exporting. You can film as much as you want, you know, as many screen recordings as you want, and then once you've pressed record, you do your recording, you then are able to download it right there. You don't have to post it to a discussion at all. So it can be used for its original purpose, but you can also use it as a great screen recorder as well that is free. Remember that WeVideo has the option to do screen recording as well. So that can be helpful, and it does do this same thing where it lets you record both your webcam and the screen. What's different about it is that it's going to record these in 2 different files. So it's going to give you your footage of yourself, and it's going to give you the footage of your screen, and then it's up to you to place them into a timeline, to place them down on your timeline, put one on the arrange the tracks and the sizes to look the way that you want them to. So that's one thing when using Canva. It's just a little bit cleaner because it takes your video and it places it, the webcam video, right in the corner, and it'll do it in whatever template you've chosen. So a couple of the other features inside of WeVideo that I think are underutilized, the stock media on the side. So there are so many different videos over here that are great for all kinds of different things. The thing I teach my students how to do is to use the search feature at the top, and then talk with them about the process of searching, that if they're too specific with their search terms, they're going to not, if you put Cheetos on fire, it isn't going to do that. But if you write snacks, then it's going to find a lot more stuff that might be it might work for what they need it to work for. But there are a lot of things here that if you are teaching a lesson about a certain state or a scientific process or a math problem, there's so many things here that might be useful to put in the background just to kind of give it some, it just makes your project a little bit more fun. So, you know, adding something there that might make your video, maybe this is just an intro, you know, it's got the name of the lesson, and then it's got this as a background. And just remembering that when you have layers, you're able to have multiple things happening. So you might have yourself down in one corner teaching some material, and then up in a smaller corner, you're going to change the size of this so that it's up here, and you've got something going on up here, and you can place something on top of that. So maybe there's some text that you then pull down on top of that, and you make sure that it's readable. You're going to place the text in the same spot as that little box at the top that you've created, and then you're just going to adjust your text, maybe add some color to the background so that we are able to see it a little bit better. And see what that does, where you still see the background, but you are able, that the text pops out at you a little bit more. And you can use some of these other features, like I'm going to outline it in black because that matches sort of with what the background is that's there. But then, I mean, there's just no limit to what you can then add to this. So maybe you are here teaching in front of a green screen. You've got your content right here, happening. This is where your PowerPoint slide is or your screen recording is. And there's just so many different things that you can do inside of a video that utilizing some of the different features. The other thing to consider is using transitions inside of your project. So if your whole lecture that you are doing, the direct instruction portion that you are teaching is on your bottom layer. Remember that everything else can have transitions throughout. So you can have maybe 2 or 3 or 4 different slides that are across here. And remember, you can copy and paste things. You can get it to be exactly the size you want it to be and copy and paste, and it's going to put it wherever your cursor is. And then maybe you want to switch up what you've got, the size you like, with the positioning of this particular thing. So I want this parrot to go in place of this, and I'm just going to say replace it, and it's going to keep it in exactly that same spot and that same size. So I can then add in some transitions. So if you imagine that you've got somebody talking right there in front of this screen, we've got this screen, we've got the text screen, and we're going to add in a transition or two. So some of the transition options that you can pull down on top of, we want to just throw in a little transition here, and it's going to go from our math background right into the parrot. So just it's those little things that you do to a video, that the more elements that you add onto it, the better and more engaging the video is. And remember that what you make, this is a product you're going to be keeping for a long time if you choose wisely the things that you create videos of. So if you're creating videos of content that you teach every year and content that you continually reteach to students, you will be grateful for a good quality video that is you teaching exactly the way that you need your students to learn the material.